perhaps the best thing we can do is to ask the person what they want us to do in a particular conversation. So here's an example that she refers to, and this is taken from the interview. She says, and this is someone reporting or telling someone about a sexual assault. Sorry, this is intense. But she says, quote, if we ask them, the person who is confiding us, in the right context, properly supportive, what do you want to happen? Oftentimes, someone will tell us through that answer what it is that they're looking for. Are they looking for belief? She says that's huge, especially when a person is reporting on a serious injustice, because those things so often are disbelieved. Just looking for belief often is, in of itself, incredibly significant. So perhaps in that moment, we need to ask that person, what do you want me to do? Right? Do you want me to tell somebody? Right? And we can also make it very particular to a particular context. You know, how do you want me to respond? All right? Is this something that you want me to do? Or do you just want me to listen? And I think that can go a long way. Right? And so this interview, this suggestion also has me thinking of other suggestions that perhaps not only should we ask someone, but when we're engaging with a conversation with someone, perhaps, maybe we need to preface our conversations with telling that person what we want them to do in that particular conversation. So let me give you an example. So a close friend of mine recently texted me, and they said to me, I have to tell you something very serious. I knew it wasn't about me, right? Because it would have been a different kind of text. So she didn't have an issue with me. She said, I want to tell you something. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be good, right? And I'm waiting for what she's about to tell me because I know it's going to be juicy. And she says to me, but I'm going to need you not to judge, right? And she knows me. She knows that I'm a moral and political philosopher. And all I do is all day is judge people and things and work, right? So she told me who she didn't want me to be. So I was very hyper aware of that. So she tells me, thank God she told me before, because I would have been very super judgy at the very beginning of the conversation. So she tells me that it was good too. She tells me this juicy thing. And I was able to be the non-judgy friend in that conversation. And I learned a lot from that, right? And you can imagine if she would have kept that in, and I would have been my normal judgy self, how that would have made her feel. Perhaps that would have affected our future conversations and what she felt comfortable with telling me. But I think sometimes not only asking a person what they want us to do in a particular conversation, but sometimes we may want to tell people who we want them to be. Now, mind you, this is all context sensitive. Not all conversation is going to call for this. Sometimes there are some things that a person may tell us they want us to be that perhaps ethically we ought not to be, right? It would depend. This is context sensitive. But there's no doubt that I believe that sometimes we can tell a person what we want them to do, how we want them to respond, and that will be very useful, right? And then